Morning, Daryl. Artist in recovery. It's about 2:33 in the morning, West Coast time. I'm just getting breakfast started. Breakfast of champions is also warm. It's got stuff in it. It's the 8th of January 2024. I'm responding to the one that you had this morning, and also to the video that you did concerning about Trump's bags of crap. Originally, when I heard that on the news, I'm thinking to myself, "You got to be kidding me! We're dealing with feces here? No, 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 no. A bag of junk. Look for the people who've got a bag of junk." Um, Wearables or anything else that they're carrying with them. That's not trash, as in uh, putting into garbage cans, taking them over to waste management, let waste management handle them. No, it's their own belongings. And yes, he is really being divisive at this point, even though he kept saying throughout his his crap that he threw at people left and right. People bought it, ate it, and became maggots. So now they're looking for, as you said before, people who are hauling junk over to voting places. Well, I can tell you over here they don't. They don't. But I hadn't seen too many people when we actually did have the voting places bringing in suitcases or bags of stuff with them. They generally didn't. Puerto Rico citizens are considered not state, but definitely U.S. territory, can vote, but they've been trying to petition for years of being a statehood, and they hadn't got to that point yet. And yes, they don't speak Spanish or any other kind of language they've got, basically Spanish. And there's nothing wrong with that except for us backward ass country twits called Americans, and I do use that insultingly, that we think everything has to be in English. English has to be the main language. They tried decades ago passing laws on that one, both in the states and the federal, and it didn't pass. We're too much of a pluralistic nation. We're supposed to be a pluralistic country that we accept differences. Well, apparently, since we had the Trumpism being exploding left and right, it was just a blister that just pursed, and everything else is just oozed out from the damn thing. But we already had the poison in ourselves anyway. History, history, history. Manifest destiny. Our own damn ignorance, our own damn arrogance. Using religion against other people because we think we're better, we're righteous, we're holy, we. No wonder we like pissing all over each other. No joke. I haven't heard anything concerning about the damn gift cards. I've heard little individual stories here and there, maybe on corporate media about well, being denied this and being denied that. Oh, let's make a big deal about the damn thing, why don't we? I could care less. No, I like the actress. I just haven't heard her viewpoints as much because I don't watch the talk shows. I liked her acting. And yeah, Jumpin' Jack Flash, my brother and I, when he was alive, we laughed like hell every time we kept seeing it. But I'll tell you, the jokes got more blander and blander every time we kept seeing it, and we got older and older. So age really does, and maturity does do a factor on that one. But back in the 80s, oh hell yeah, we'd laugh our asses off on that one. But it was still a good movie. We enjoyed it. But she was also into Color Purple, and she was also in Star Trek. She was also a stand-up comedian. She was also in Comic Relief. Yeah, for kids stuck in his head in his television all the time or cable. But concerning about what the Trumplicans have been warning, yeah, and yeah, they did say that on the other news programs left and right about Trump and his mouth and what he expects their followers to do. They can't do that legally. They cannot follow you into a polling place. Well, they're trying to make those laws, aren't they? State and federal election guidelines. You're not supposed to influence people's votes. It's against the law. I don't care if you're standing there or not. You're not supposed to do that shit. Some of the sheriff's department will actually, or actually, some of the law enforcement agencies will either support it or they'll just overlook it. I, for one, do the mail-in. They moved the polling place, and they used to have it here on my property. We're in the far end of Rosamond, but they shut off some of the voting booths that you have to travel miles to get to it. And it's about a mile and a half to get to the nearest polling place instead of just a few feet away from a door. And we're in the west end of actually on the east end of Rosamond, where people had come into our place to vote. But because of some stupidity happening in the districts, we lost it. So now everything's concentrated either on the west end or at the library or at a senior center that used to be a senior center. And I don't know what the hell it is anymore. But I don't know where the hell they moved my damn voting place one way or another. Or actually, they'll move it over to a park that's still about a mile away. I got to travel. Now imagine being in gerrymandered districts, pal. Re-engineered to where your voting district, your voting place is about 10 miles away. How are you going to get over there? You don't have any transportation? How's your feet? Can't walk? So what do? Mail in. Are you allowed to mail in? Gerrymandered and specific voting guidelines are up to each state on how they vote, when they vote, where are they going to vote. I hate it when we get these damn things re-engineered. So I'm stuck with dealing with the mail-in. I mean, I used to like going to the polls and put the name in there. But at least in this way, I don't get to deal with the Snoopy vultures. I might as well call them. You ever seen those cartoons for Charlie Brown? You didn't? Holy shit! And you're older than I am by a few months. Oh, good lord, dude. We got to get ourselves educated more. Anyway, Snoopy would stand over people, including Lucy, and just act like he's waiting for something. Just big eyes bulging, his head's hunched over. He's standing on her head, and he's got this weird ass look. And she goes, "Knock it off!" And he goes tumbling off her. But it's that kind of look that I keep thinking about the damn poll watchers. Like, of course, the exit polls are one thing, but going in, who you gonna vote for? I ain't going to tell you. Who you gonna vote for? I ain't telling you. Now, if it's gonna be Trump, I'm not telling you jack shit. You're gonna tell me now, otherwise it's bad for you. Sheriff's Department, you can catch the guys on tape, preferably video, doing this kind of thing. Call it harassment, call it federal crime, because they are interfering with your vote. That's a federal crime. It's in the U.S. Code somewhere on that one. So yeah, it pisses me off. But here's the thing. We live in a country that's supposed to be pluralistic. Even dealing with the guys like Donald Trump are supposed to be somewhat allowed. Dude, we can't be one party, one rule, and one viewpoint. We have to be a country with many pluralistic viewpoints, and we got to go crazy on this one. I'm going to refer you again to a movie that you probably been referred to, but I'm going to refer it over to it. American President, Google the damn thing. Google the speech. Because you will hear the main character speak and talk about the differences. Unless I'm going to have to do that right now as it is. Give me 1 second. I need another biteful of this stuff. It's my breakfast and my stomach's ringing. I should find the link and put it in here. Okay. Research this on YouTube. Andrew Shepard's speech from the American president, portrayed by Michael Douglas, Kirk Douglas' son. He's at the podium. I have about a few versions of them, but they're about almost 5 minutes apart, so listen.
Suggests that being president of this country was to a certain extent about character. And although I've not been willing to engage card-carrying member of the ACLU. But the more important question is, why aren't you, Bob? Now, this is an organization whose sole purpose is to defend the Bill of Rights. So it naturally begs the question, why would a senator, his party's most powerful spokesman, and a candidate for president choose to reject upholding the Constitution? Now, if you can answer that question, folks, then you're smarter than I am, because I didn't understand it until a few hours ago. America isn't easy. America is advanced citizenship. You've got to want it bad, because it's going to put up a fight. It's going to say, you want free speech? Let's see you acknowledge a man whose words make your blood boil, who's standing center stage and advocating at the top of his lungs that which you would spend a lifetime opposing at the top of yours. You want to claim this land as a land of the free? Then the symbol of your country cannot just be a flag. The symbol also has to be one of its citizens exercising his right to burn that flag in protest. Now show me that. Defend that. Celebrate that in your classrooms. Then you can stand up and sing about the land of the free. I've known Bob Rumson for years, and I've been operating under the assumption that the reason Bob devotes so much time and energy to shouting at the rain was that he simply didn't get it. Well, I was wrong. Bob's problem isn't that he doesn't get it. Bob's problem is that he can't sell it. We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them. And whatever your particular problem is, I promise you, Bob Rumson is not the least bit interested in solving it. He is interested in two things, and two things only: making you afraid of it and telling you who's to blame for it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you win elections. You gather a group of middle-aged, middle-class, middle-income voters who remember with longing an easier time, and you talk to them about family and American values and character. And you wave an old photo of the president's girlfriend, and you scream about patriotism. You tell them she's to blame for their lot in life. You go on television, and you call her a whore. Sidney Ellen Wade has done nothing to you, Bob. She has done nothing but put herself through school, represent the interests of public school teachers, and lobby for the safety of our natural resources. You want a character debate, Bob? You better stick with me, because Sidney Ellen Wade is way out of your league. I've loved two women in my life. I lost one to cancer, and I lost the other because I was so busy keeping my job. I forgot to do my job. Well, that ends right now. Tomorrow morning, the White House is sending a bill to Congress for its consideration. It's White House Resolution 455, an energy bill requiring a 20% reduction of the emission of fossil fuels over the next 10 years. It is by far the most aggressive stride ever taken in the fight to reverse the effects of global warming. The other piece of legislation is the crime bill. As of today, it no longer exists. I'm throwing it out. I'm throwing it out and writing a law that makes sense. You cannot address crime prevention without getting rid of assault weapons and handguns. I consider them a threat to national security, and I will go door to door if I have to, but I'm going to convince Americans that I'm right, and I'm going to get the guns. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people. And if you want to talk about character, Bob, you better come at me with more than a burning flag and a membership card. If you want to talk about character and American values, fine. Just tell me where and when, and I'll show up. This is a time for serious people, Bob, and your 15 minutes are up. My name is Andrew Shepard, and I am the president.
I saw this movie on cable, but I didn't see this one on the screen. It would have been perfect watching this on a main screen. And seeing his performance as the President of the United States at the time in the 90s. Now, keep this in mind that we actually had Clinton from 92 all the way through. He did have two terms, so that's 8 years in office. We had Reagan in, but then we had Clinton after that. And yes, Clinton did have the sexual situations happening. Besides that, he was trying to get our economics down left and right. But this was made during that time, and also when we were still trying to question ourselves and our patriotism, because we got um, George H. Bush, no, George W. Bush Jr. in office because of the term limits that were imposed upon the president's uh, term in office there, their time in office, and dealing with stuff. Hearing this time to time keeps reminding me what America is supposed to be like. You can also watch the West Wing episodes. They're probably on cable somewhere, on streaming services. Amazon's got them somewhere. And there's a thing concerning about an episode that was made in response to the 9/11 attacks. But they were talking about pluralism in there. Kids are asking about democracy in this one particular episode. And it was the heaviest, hardest thing for me to listen to. Not just for the questioning of the kids to the White House staffers, but what was happening to one particular White House employee that was almost getting himself fired because he was at the wrong place. Actually, he was working at the White House, but his name was tagged because it was what they were looking for, a scapegoat. And they find out it wasn't him at all, but he was still a scapegoat because of his name. And that's the kind of thing we're living through right now as it is. I listened to the movie of American President, pieces of it, because it still reminds me of what America, what we think we want from it. But unfortunately, everybody else would consider it wokeism because how he betrays us. Richard Dreyfuss does the evil character of a senator who is trying to win the presidency by doing a Donald Trump all the damn time. I think that Trump got the playbook from him, or vice versa. But we're dealing with this. This reminds me of what we're fighting for and what we're trying to accomplish. And if this is wokeism, then I'm a wokeism. I'm dealing with it. I'm coping with it. I'm functioning as it. People don't like it, on them. That's what I got to tell them. Just go on them. Now, regarding the bag of crap, a bag of whatever they're bringing along, I don't understand why people should jump on people for carrying that kind of crap. As I said before, we're looking down on people left and right because we're stupid. We're stupid. We're heartless. We don't give a shit. We don't care about what's happening to the other guy. We only care about what's happening to us. We matter more, not the other guy. We're stupid. It makes me very depressed as hell over this. Very much so. Because we're stupid. I don't know what the hell happened to this generation. I don't know what the hell happened to the last generation. But we skipped our brain cells somewhere. We skipped our common sense. We skipped our logic and our humanity. We skipped a lot of things, Daryl. And I don't know if these people are intelligent enough to figure this shit out. And to think of this, we still have to have the opposition talking back to us. We can't be living in one particular voice box. We have to have many if we're going to be pluralistic in our own thinking and our own open-mindedness. Otherwise, we're no damn better than they are. There has to be a gray area. There has to be a common ground. There has to be. Because otherwise, we're going to be living in this constant polarized environment. We're still pointing the fingers at them, wherever them is. Do I agree with what they say? No. But here's the thing. I may not have to agree with the substance, but I do have to agree with the right of free speech. I'm still a First Amendment kind of guy. I deal with freedom of speech. But there has to be limitations on the damn shit. It's not absolute. Nothing is absolute. They could put it in stone, and you know what happens to stone? It dissolves in time or breaks apart. So we have to put it in something else. We have to keep recreating it one way or another. Even iron, if we do it in ironclad, it still rusts. And I'm not talking about metaphysically, I'm talking about physically at this point. But I could put it in philosophy or philosophical terms. When they did the Ten Commandments in stone, do we still have the stones? No, but we have the writings put into paper because of the stories told again and again and again and again. Despite what we think, what we feel, it's still there. They're going to be asking me, is Trump right with his mouth? Probably not, because of our own damn viewpoints of it. We're liberal. We think differently. We think about helping people when we can. And when we can't, we get our noses involved in the twitch. On some occasions, we have to watch out where the hell we're stepping on. Because we might be stepping on shit, literally. I just hope that we can understand what's going on in our lives a lot more than what people think we do. We have to get a better grasp, my friend. We have to have the better understanding. We have to explain it to people in terms that they can understand what's going on. But if they're not ready to listen for it or they're not going to be willing to listen to it, all we can do is pass it off and that's about it and move on. It's like in recovery. If a person's ready, he's ready. But if he's not going to listen. Or she. Or them. But that's how it is. Okay, enough on that one. I'll put this in the links when I can. But I'm sending this one out right now. So, trying to have a good one.